So I'm doing a tutorial on this one because this is a little bit difficult. It's not just a matter of just adding something. Get your chain block, and I've made this 7 by 7 because you've got no 1/4 inch seams around the outside. You can actually cut that down a bit. So I've made that 7 by 7 so it's completely square. We're going to do what they call a Seminole pattern. So basically we fits that here and there, and the way you make it is you have 4 1/2, 1 1/2, 1 1/2, 1 1/2, 4 1/2. The idea is if you've got plenty on the outside, then once you've got it together, then you can cut it to fit. Well, that's the idea anyway. Whether this is wide enough or not for both sides, I don't know until we do it, because I'm practicing on myself. So start by sewing all 5 pieces together and do them in order that the 2 pieces here, whether you've got light, light and dark, or dark, dark and light, these are your diamonds, and then 3 have to be the same measurement. It's only the 2 outside ones that are different. So sew them all together. Well, there you go. I've got all my 5 together. 1 2 3 4 5. The 3 are the smaller ones in the center, and then that way. And then if you look at the back, I am going to iron them where they want to go. So I'm just going to press them. I'm not going to they've already been starched. There's no need to add steam or any other water. What does help is if you press the wrong side and just get the sewn seams warmed up, then when you turn it the other way, it does actually lie a bit flatter and goes a little bit easier because it's warm. Put it on a straight line. Whatever these measurements are on the 3 in the middle, that's what you cut your strips in. If that was 2 inches, then you'd do 2 inches, but this is 1 1/2. So straighten it up, so it's level. It's not quite long enough for me to tell. Excuse my arm. I'm using the long ruler. I need the extra weight because I don't want to knock it. So just cut as many as you can. 1 1/2. I nearly went wrong then. That would have been a waste. And just do that and get as many as you can. So there's your first one. Then just drop the next white one down. And they should nest. So nest them, get them together, and then work your way back up to the start where they land. Then you should automatically be able to nest the next ones. And then don't pull, just work your way down. And that's the first one. And then keep dropping them down as you go. So that's what it looks like when it's all sewn together. And if you turn it like on the side, it does look like diamonds. Right. As I was going over, it kept catching the lip of my metal plate, and it kept lifting and when I realised, then I stopped it from happening. Just cut it down to make them lie flat. There's no need to take them to undo them. That's it. Right, I'm going to iron the back first, but this is all on the bias, so there's lots of stretch, so be careful not to stretch it, just press it flat. So I've now pressed it all, front and back, it's nice and flat, and then I'm sort of like going to work out that that's going to have to come down there if I want it to go across there. And that would be, that's 12 inches. They've wanted 10.5. And then I'll have to add this, will have to come across here, across there, then it would fit at the side. I'll have to go down a bit further because I should have to get to there. That'll have to be level. So I'll probably have to make another one for across there, as long as I've got enough for this bit here to go straight across there and be completely flat. And then wherever I decide to take that from, it's got to come to obviously a 90°. So 10.5 is there, and that's too close to that, so I need to bring it in slightly. And a half is there, and that will be completely flat across there. So let's take the plunge, see if I can find a point. Right. I think I've found one. Right. See the middle there? Put a line, making sure that you've got enough this side, say 1/2 inch. So that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and so I'm up to there. You just need to, it's probably not straight, so you'll have to make it straight. Right, So according to me, right, according to me it's the very centres of them points there, and if you get them all the way, just moved again. So if I put that there on there to keep that still, and then whichever one's out, move. Right, that is definitely 1/2 inch or slightly more away from them corners there. So we take that off. Let's get this back. It's got to come down, so that goes right across there, right angle, and that would be, well, I'm going to do exactly the same this side, and then I can measure it taking into account of the seam allowance. So let's just go through the centre again. I see. So now we've got a point this side that we can have it on. That's too far over, so I've got to go that way, taking about 1/2 inch off them edges. So I'm going to use this line that's just there, making sure it's 1/2 inch or more off this side. When I add them two together, it comes to, so I'm still over. By the time I've sewn that to there, 1/4 inch, it's just a matter of trial and error, because I've got no hard and fast rules about this, because I've never done it before. Yeah, by the time I've taken 1/4 inch up here, 1/4 inch, it should then be 10.5, but I've got to cut this completely straight across here. So basically I'm just going to take that measurement across there, there you go. So I should be able to now sew that onto there and then cut it off. That's 10.5 inches Yeah, it's 10.5 unfinished, that's right. That's 10.5 unfinished. So I'm going to press that, let it go where it wants to, which is that way. And then cut that straight. I mean, there has a bit been wasted, but you could get a square out of there for something else. But that's Seminole. So now I've got to do the same again and make it for across there. And if I do the same measurements, it should be 10.5 inches unfinished that way. Basically, that's the way I want the block to go. So I've got to do one that comes this way. And that's longer, so I've got to make a longer length. There you go. So now we're working on the other side. So we've done that side. And now we're working on doing for here. Now it's probably overkill and I've probably got too much because I don't know how to measure this to make it fit anything. This was the full length of this ruler. So that's the 24-inch ruler, and I made the fabric the full length. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lots, 24 inches each. That's got to go there, but don't forget when you do this to get a straight line, to make sure you can. I've got to go about here and lose that much. I'm going to lose that on both sides anyway, so there's probably not much more than that anyway. So we want to do the same again. As you can see on this one, we went about 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch past the white. So that's 3/4 of an inch. So we'll do that again. We need to put a mark. So if we go roughly 3/4 of an inch and try and find a centre bit. Again, I've got this 2-inch centre mark. Don't forget, some of this is on the bias. You might have to pull it straight to get it all to fit. So my 2-inch mark is on the middle of the gold one. So just persevere while you try and work out the best way of going it as near straight as you possibly can. So I've got my helper, which is my iron at that end, and that gives me about past this white peak just there, about the right amount, I should imagine. And it's the same all the way down, so we're going to commit ourselves, and that's 1. So you do waste quite a lot. So that is roughly the same as that. So we've got to say that on 1/4 of an inch. That'll give it me that. So if I put that across there, then I know roughly where I've got to cut this one. Which again will be roughly the same place. Right, again it's roughly the same place. 2 inches with my red line going down the centre of the gold. This is on the biased, so it will need you to put it in the right place. Right, I'm happy with that. At some point you have to commit yourself. And again, you cut all that off. Now according to me, hopefully, once I've sewn that on to there, and again you have to be careful when you come across to make sure you've got a 90-degree angle. So I'm going to lose all that there. In fact, I can take that off now. I'll take that corner off. So pick a point that you think straight. And it looks straight in more than one point, hopefully. So I've lost that as well. And then hopefully once that's been sewn on 1/4 inch, that does make 10.5 that way. Fingers crossed. I can always cut a little bit more off if not, but we'll check that once I've sewn it on. And another block done, and it is 10.5 both ways. So that's the chain block, the medium one, or the small. I made it 7 inch, and then I did this, and we had this left over from the second one, and this left over from the first once I'd cut it square. So once I've cut that square, I've probably got that much and that much left, that you never know, be able to use on something else. But it's the first time I've done Seminole, and this is a pattern from the Red Indians of America that they used in the, I think the tribe is called Seminole. So if you want to look up and read more about it. Thank you for joining me. Please hit the like and subscribe button and come back for more.